So I have to rebuild, kind of forget about everything I know and who I know. I need to restart almost from zero.
Welcome back to the Legends podcast, where we celebrate the pioneers shaping business, leadership, and global impact. Today's guest is someone who truly embodies the word global. Simon D. Raadt has built 7, 8, and even 9-figure businesses across sourcing, logistics, customer clearance, and supply chain management. He spent a decade in China. Look at his face. He doesn't look like Chinese. Mastering cross-border e-commerce, and today he's advising over 100 direct-to-consumers brands through his company e-commerce. If I say it wrong, please correct me. What makes Simon's story even more powerful is that he doesn't just take business, he lives with balance, purpose, and vision. He's an investor, mentor, husband, and father of 2 sons in the Netherlands, all while guiding the next generation of e-commerce leaders. He's also one of our Signature Global members, which we are proud to say. And of course, Simon is also a co-author of the Word Thought Leaders, where his story has already begun inspiring thousands. Today, we explore not just his business success, but also how sharing his story has shaped his journey, his mindset, and his legacy. Welcome, Simon.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, Christy. Really
You're
nice
welcome.
to hear the warm welcome.
So Simon, maybe for those who already know you, I already just introduced you. If you want to just have 1 minute quick intro about who you are, and I'm gonna head to the next question.
Yeah. So so Simon, I'm from the Netherlands, but my dream was always to work and live internationally, and it was hard to achieve. So I kind of made my own plan to achieve it. I made up a plan to just find a job somewhere in China, and hopefully somebody would be generous enough to give me one job. Turned out that there was one out of the 50 people that I met, and that really changed my whole life, not just on the career life, but also just my whole attitude to life, as well as finding my wife there, which is the foundation now of my day to day. And these 10 years has been amazing because I just were exposed about what it's like to be an entrepreneur. How do you develop yourself? How do you deal with cross-cultural differences? How do you bridge the gap? And that's something for me is like after these 10 years, like, okay, I want to help Chinese companies go global because I think they have a lot of benefits when it comes to infrastructure, resources, capital. And what they're missing is communication skills to
Yep.
localize a solution and really connect with an individual across the globe. And that's something that I'm very passionate about, connecting with people. And that's something where I found like, okay, I want to help those companies to go global. And for the last 2 years, I've been involved with Ecomops to lead their international team, but also the international clients. All of our clients are
Wow.
Western clients, non-Chinese, but they all buy from China.
Yep.
And we pick and pack their parcels and send them globally. And it's been quite an interesting journey. I love the cross-cultural part and the connection part. So yeah.
Thank you, Simon. It sounds so fascinating. And I think those who have missed your stories, they will definitely purchase the book and read it and find out because it is a very special and unique journey. If you know how to say hello in Chinese, you can say so because maybe there's some Chinese audience right there. Do you want to try to say so we can tell if you are accurate or not, Simon?
你好，大家好，我中文名字是赵西蒙我以前在上海住了10年多了，现在我就在荷兰，是很小的城市，是莱顿，是阿姆斯特丹旁边的，这是
Wow! I'm impressed, okay? Because I understand Mandarin. So at least I understand you, Simon. So that's a really good job.
Yay!
No,
I've learned
God.
from my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law has lived with us for quite a while, and her only language is Mandarin, so kind of had to.
She can't speak English, so you have to cooperate.
Yeah, I now I can actually argue in Chinese now. So
That's a good one. Well, guys, if you are in the e-commerce place and if you want to hire a mentor, but then also hire English Chinese teacher, I think you got 2 in 1. All right. So Simon, that was really fun. Now, you've lived and built businesses on both sides of the world, from China to the Netherlands. If you had to describe your journey in one word, that's challenging, what would it be and why?
Ecosystem, if it's one word. And the reason I say that, especially in e-commerce, the e-commerce systems, the ecosystem in China is completely different. They don't communicate with Facebook, with Twitter, or everyone knows all that. So you have to navigate an ecosystem that doesn't exist. And I've navigated that for at least since 2015. I was involved with helping brands to enter the Chinese market through e-commerce. And then I moved out of China, and then suddenly I started to deal with Western e-commerce brands that didn't use all of these tools, all of these systems, and I didn't know which players were also involved. So many of our clients are using Shopify or sometimes Amazon, but mainly Shopify. They're using a lot of different tools, and all these tools were available in the Chinese platform. So who are actually managing these tools, who are running these tools, who's scaling these businesses? I had to learn, I had to connect with a complete new audience of industry players that I've never connected with. So I had to rebuild, kind of forget about everything I know and who I know. I need to restart almost from zero and getting in front of the right people. And I think for e-commerce, it's so important to understand it's not plug and play. The China ecosystem is so different for than the Western world. We're seeing it coming more and more together. That's why it's so interesting to when you know more. And I still believe that China is leading cross-border e-commerce. When you know more the foundation, being involved already for since 2015 at least, of everything with Tmall and all these platforms coming up, of helping brands to go global. How do you serve with live streaming, the local community? All of those foundations are going to spread across the globe. And the better having that foundation is helping me also to navigate our clients that are not familiar with that to see how they can sustain their own brand and also compete with the existing. And
Wow. That sounds really interesting because not just in your business wise, ecosystem is such an amazing word because the world is, it really needs to be like you need to create an ecosystem for this world. And also, I believe, fascinating enough because you remember you moved to China for 10 years and then come back to Netherlands. So it's like ecosystem, it goes back and forth. So you're everywhere.
yeah.
That's fun. Thank you. So let's rewind a bit. Do you remember the very first aha moment when you knew cross-border e-commerce would be your calling?
Yeah, so I didn't know what I wanted to do when I moved to China. I just looked for a job, and I
Mm,
found out that most likely because I spoke Dutch and Chinese started to speak better English over time, so
yeah.
I probably need to focus on the Dutch company. I kind of ended up in logistics, so I wasn't really planning on being in logistics. It was someone at TNT Post that allowed me to join their company, and then later on to a Dutch trading company. My For me was I wanted to get a break. It's like a break as in achieve some form of success
Yeah.
and success as in more business success. I felt
Mhm.
like I was capable of something, but I never really got the platform to show what I was capable of.
Yes.
I just
Yes.
needed that one chance to thrive and
Mhm.
carry that proudly. And for me, it was we're developing the business for PostNL, the Post Netherlands, to develop a small parcel solution out of China, where we just looked for companies that had small parcels to be shipped out. And at that time, it was either China Post, which was very cheap but very slow, or Express, which was very fast but very expensive. So positioning us in the middle. And when that really worked and we started to scale, it became very surreal. And I realized we went from zero to 170 million euro business like annual revenue in 3 years, which was crazy. But it just seemed so normal because it just came gradually. And we didn't have a lot of clients, maybe 25 or something, but they were all big. For me, it was like, huh, logistics, you can really scale. You can run a brand, but then you can or a business, but there's a limitation. And more normally the limitation is then the founder or the brand or the scalability of it. And with logistics, it's endless actually. You can ship as many parcels as you want.
Yeah,
And there's not
so
really
true.
a limit. And that was a big aha moment when it comes to logistics. And then at the same time, you're getting in front of hundreds of entrepreneurs and you're connecting with them on a deeper level. Again, the connecting part, but just getting so inspired by their story, by their journey, that it really helps me to yeah, proceed every day and just get energy out of the people that you work with. So for me, that was really a big mix then when they also were international, like when you're dealing with international individuals. So these three for me are so important when it comes to having a scalable product, really connecting with people and in cross cultural. That's something that really drives me, and you can find it in many places, but for me, it turned out to be logistics.
Yeah, nice. That's a really a hard moment for me. Like when you said that, logistics like endless. You're right. Like people just always set limits, but then when you realize that, wow, it just came automatically when you set up everything right. That was really, really good. Thank you. Now, the next question I have for you is you've helped build seven, eight, and even nine-figure companies. If we peek behind the curtain, what was the most unexpected lesson you learned scaling businesses that big?
So all these businesses came in different sizes. There are solopreneurs that are doing it on their in the back room in the house and working by themselves, grinding every day 14 hours and getting stuck with themselves, and not and feeling anxious and not feeling that they are doing enough when they're actually burning out, basically, right? So you have that kind of audience. And you have companies that have 300 people employed. They have multiple locations across the globe, and they're fulfilling from China as well as somewhere else. It's a very different conversation, right? So some of the CEOs, Western CEOs, are less involved with the day to day. Chinese CEOs are very involved with the day to day. They know everything from the beginning to the end, and so there it depends a little bit who you're talking to, where you navigate. Okay, where they get stuck and how can I serve them? And for a lot of the solopreneurs, it's really about more inner peace, getting more in touch with the brand being a tool and not it doesn't determine their success. And a lot of the entrepreneurs, they determine their personal success to their company success or their business success. Most of the CEOs from bigger companies, their life is about work, but they're not per se defined by that success because they have a whole team running it day to day. It was for me very interesting to get in front of all of those, sitting in a taxi with a CEO from a multi-billion company, with a small entrepreneur that is trying to figure it out and has maybe less than 100,000 a year. And that diversity is keeps you grounded and it keeps you also inspired because everyone is stuck somewhere. And it is not a magic bullet in itself. And I think that was a very big realization that it's not always on you to fix. Over time, it will solve itself. But a lot of people blame themselves that they're not doing enough. And I think we need to flip that voice. And I know you're doing that actively as well to change the narrative and put everyone in the spotlight to be able to shine. Because there is a lot of beauty in every individual, but the vision gets blurred. And that happens all across, whether it's a multi-billion company or whether that's a small entrepreneur making it work and everything in between. Yeah, I think that was a big lesson for me that it's in the end, it's about determining how you want your life to be. And that's how you determine that it's not determined by the business that you run. The business that you run is the tool to be able to show more of who you would like to be and want to become. Yeah.
Wow. Simon, you spoke that beautifully. Like everything you just said, I'm sure whoever out there listening, whether they are millions or multiple millions owners and companies, and I think you're right. Everybody's kind of like chasing happiness and success, but sometimes it's right already within you if you know what you want. And you're right. Sometimes when you own too much or when you're getting wealthier or richer, you can really fly up. That's what you said. It's so important to stay grounded and stay humble because that's where the true inner peace and the true happiness comes from. And we are meant to serve people. Whenever if our focus is just on ourselves and if we're getting wealthier and we feel great, it doesn't last for long. But if we're really making impact in someone's lives, that really lasts for a long time. And that's where fulfills us the most. You just really inspire me to say this because what you said is so true.
Mm.
All right. So the next one I have for you is if you could go back and go back and give your 20-year-old, I always ask that question, but I want to ask again in case you have a different answer. 20-year-old self, a global business survival kit. What three items would be inside?
3 items. Oof.
It's like a
Yeah.
magic. Now I turn you back to your
Yeah.
20 years old self and you say to, hey, here, buddy, I give you this package, this kit, and it has three
Yeah.
items there. What would these three wisdom?
I would tell myself that I need to be more ballsy, more guts in itself. For me to move to China, it took me 3 years to actually execute on that plan. So it's been on my mind, and my opportunities might have been different. Not that I'm lacking it, but then it's more, yeah, I should have just done that earlier. And so everyone is always a little bit afraid and scared to give up the existing, right? And I had that as well. And then for me, it has to really grow inside to be able to feel the courage to take the steps necessary. So that's one. The other one is more being selfish. I think a lot of the time you consider other people's needs more than yourself, and therefore you're putting yourself in a struggle. And I think the core foundation for me, it used to be business, family, and then me. And I flipped these. Now it's me first, then my family, then my business. Because if I can be the best version of me, then the rest will automatically have that ripple effect. And otherwise, it just starts to drain. So I flipped that narrative. So learning that taking good care of yourself is number one. Um, and then I would say I'm not a greedy person, but I do think that because of that, I never, in my years, I'm now making good money, but when I was in China, I wasn't. I was really struggling. I really had to take a pay cut from my job in the Netherlands to like a third of what I was existing to be able to chase my dream. I could have been a little bit more financial savvy and making sure I'm getting what I'm or should be deserving in that sense. Because if you build a business from 0 to 170 million and your paycheck is not even a small fraction of that, then it's like,
You're
and
gonna
I
lose
should have
your
just
motivation.
stepped
Yeah,
up.
you're gonna lose the motivation within you if you do
And
that.
more the appreciation as well, right? At some point,
Yeah,
you just want to feel like you're
you're not
part of
appreciated.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that was really good pieces of wisdom. And I just want to echo what you said about putting yourself ahead of people. You're right. Many of us always think that's selfish. In fact, it's not even being selfish. It's just being putting the right order. Because honestly, I believe if you always put using your family or business as excuses, not take care of yourself, that's also selfish. Because like you said, if you are not in the right place, how can you then serve your family, serve your kids, serve your wife, serve people around you? And that's right. We always get it wrong sometimes. Like we think and sometimes we maybe also care too much about people think about us because if we say something or say no, it doesn't mean we're really mean, but then we feel like if we say no, that makes us look really mean and bad. So that's probably one
Mm.
of the things. If I go back to my 20-year-old, I would say don't worry about what they say, right? It's not that you don't care, you still care, but you need to really filter what's in your mind because many of the time they're just really doubts and really nonsense. They're not really truth. It's just these thoughts that's overtaking you. And I think that's what you're trying to say, Simon, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
exactly.
I love that. I love that. All right. So the next question I have for you is related to cross-border e-commerce now. You've become a go-to voice in cross-border e-commerce. Right now, what excites you the most about this industry?
Yeah, so this year has been a lot of turbulence. We had the import tariff, obviously. Now, China export is also charging more export taxes, so that's also complicates things. What is interesting though, because of these hurdles, especially with the import tariff, we started to dig deeper. How do we stay relevant? Because we saw clients of ours that used to ship their parcels from China directly to the end consumer to move the inventory to the US, to a warehouse there and do the pick and pack there. So how do we don't want to do that service. We want to focus on the China fulfillment part, but how do we stay relevant? So we started digging deeper and deeper into this, and we actually found that when you ship from China to the US, you actually have one zone, so one rate for the whole US. When you have a fulfillment location in the US, you have 8 zones. And the further away, so zone 8 is the most expensive and normally also the slowest, up until like 1 to 8. So we found actually that for depending on your warehouse location, that from, let's say if you're in California, zone 6, 7, and 8, which is pretty much half of the US, it's still more interesting to ship from China when it comes to price and transit time, which I think is extremely fascinating because then you start to do a lot about hybrid fulfillment. Like, what is the optimal mix of me shipping from different locations and building that logic into a system that you don't have to think about it anymore and you optimize. And not even just the zone 1 to 8, but within these zones, you have states and you have zip codes. And with the zip codes, they all start with the same 2 digits. So we can actually say for these zip codes ship from China, these zip codes ship domestically from a US warehouse. And it's a little bit nerdy, maybe, but it excites me that you kind of nobody's talking about this. Nobody's
Yeah.
doing that, and we together with our CEO, with Ayu, we really digging very deep in our team. Big shout out to Valentina from our team to figure that out and crunch the numbers
Mm.
and help our clients to also realize they can save thousands of dollars by
Yeah.
optimizing for this. And
Yeah.
that's a huge game changer. Yeah. And nobody's talking about this. And we feel like we're a first mover on that area.
Mm.
I haven't shared much about this, so this podcast, I guess, is one of the first.
Save
But
you
it's
thousand at least.
it is that's within the logistics, by the way, for anything you try to solve things with your existing knowledge, and the fact that when you start to think more globally and you start to connect with different players, you start to think out of the box. How can I still serve my community in a different way? And so we dug very deep to figure out what would help our clients for the next few years. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, guys, you just saved at least thousands of dollars by listening to what Simon just shared. And if you missed it, I'm sorry. You should switch on or you should reach out to Simon on LinkedIn or somewhere. He's always gonna share something that's really valuable, can potentially transform your business and really help you solve more problems when it comes to logistics and e-commerce as well. Now, Simon, I have a very similar question, but on the flip side, what's one mistake you still see brands or logistics players making that makes you want to say and shout, stop doing that, right? Remember, stop doing that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's more than one, but definitely, if you're structurally working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, stop doing that, please. It's not going to help you. I think the other one is asking for help, and it's very lonely to run a business.
Mm.
So you need a team around you. You cannot fix everything. Some people think they're the only one who can do it the best possible way. So letting go and sometimes dropping the ball is very productive.
Any
Yeah.
other advice? I like it. While you're thinking, I think that two are really, really valuable. Like, honestly, that two is top advice because number one, you said, um, yes, let's talk about number two because you said about working 14 hours a day and yeah, the other one is asking for help. And I think that's the common mistakes for every single CEO because they always think, oh yeah, you're the only one who can do it, others cannot do it, and you just hold everything on you. And like you said earlier about Chinese CEOs, whatever they actually do, get involved in everything and then end up burning out by themselves and then start to be frustrated, just like a wrong circle. Um, I think you're right, especially when it comes to working long hours. It's not just about working longer hours. It's about you figured out what's the better way and work. Instead of working harder, you should work. smarter. That's probably the way we say it. So guys, I really love what he just shared. That's really, really brilliant,
Yeah,
Simon.
and it sounds. I mean, it always sounds cliche, like work harder, work less, work smarter. But it's not about you always working less. It's also about hiring people around you. When you have a virtual assistant somewhere across the globe that can help you, whether it's in the Philippines or Bangladesh, which are very common locations to hire, you're also changing their lives for the better. I really think so, and it helps you to get some of the work off your plate.
Mm,
And because it's not just your plate, we're creating our plate, we're just building it up, and it becomes more and more and more over
yeah.
time. And it's impossible to sustain it. When your business grows, the tasks also grow.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
means that everything requires more attention. And then you start to focus, you tend to focus on the things that you like, and then the other things start to drain you, and you kind of pile them up, pushing
That's
them
right.
forward. And then that's it. And then I think knowing what excites you is very important so that you can also outsource the things that don't excite you. That doesn't mean you get hands off, because that's also a very common mistake. Like, okay, I've hired someone, now it's taken care of. No, it's not. It's still yours to control, to own, to check. It doesn't mean that you've outsourced it, now it's done. And that's very common, just to ignore that part because you don't like it. And then that part you just have to suck it up, because it is your business, it is your brand, and technically that's on the line. So you have to set your standard of what's okay and what's not okay. And that means
Wow.
that sometimes you have to let someone go. And for me, about hiring and firing, it's always about the company is a platform to grow. And at some point you outgrow the company or the company outgrows you, then it's time to shake hands and go on a different journey. And I think that's something that as a small company, you're very happy. You really sometimes clam on to your team members because you don't know what it would look like if you would let them go. So
Mm.
you're trying to make it work, but when it
Yeah,
doesn't
I
really actually
understand,
work,
Simon. I completely
yeah,
get you. And when it comes to coaching as well, I work closely with many global CEOs, and exactly many of them are struggling with that. Number one thing is they really don't want to put down things that they're doing for ages. But one of the CEOs, for example, he's actually doing all the accounting by himself for the last 16 years. And then when I had that conversation with him, immediately within less than 6 months, he handed over to a expert who's way much faster and efficient. And he's like, "Oh, I'm hands free now." It's like, "I told you should do that earlier, right?" And he's immediately having opportunity to do a amazing business negotiation. He recently got a business, I'm pretty sure, can't share too much, but really close to millions of like the revenue and everything. Just one thing. Because he's focused on negotiating and talking to people rather than sitting there and doing this, I don't know, all this accounting stuff. So it's time to let go. Like the song you shared earlier, we had this podcast. That was your song, Let Go. It is so important to let go.
yeah, absolutely.
Right. So the next question I have for you, Simon, is regarding becoming a word thought leader. So you were one of the co-authors in the word thought leaders. How did putting your story into words shift your perspective on your own journey?
Yeah, in multiple ways. I think it's you write in the story also for yourself and also for the loved ones around you. So it's the stories itself. I had to dig deeper about putting certain experiences in the past into a perspective of who I've become today. So that was extremely valuable, and I've learned more and more how impactful your childhood is on who you've become and the patterns that you have still today, and that you can change those patterns, obviously, but they have been determining a lot of your life. That was very insightful, because all of the story in the book is for all of the authors is from childhood till who they are today. So you get a better understanding of who they actually are and why they've been successful and how they navigated it. And I think that was very impactful. It also just to highlight the things that you've done. For me, it was became putting it into also now putting it into a course. It's more about I've visited hundreds of factories, sourced thousands of products. That's already pretty unique while you're living in also in China, right? And then building a small parcel logistics company into something very, very big that still exists. And then also being involved with the custom clearance company, and that also still exists. And all of them are a very unique perspective, but they all basically are in the order of a supply chain from manufacturing a product to shipping the product to doing the custom clearance and then last mile delivery, obviously, and maybe some returns. But that understanding has helped me very deeply. And then by writing it down, you realize, oh, if you go chronologically throughout your life, you kind of tap into all these steps, and it's like, and you see the shift of your own journey as well over time by the hardships and by the successes. And I love that a lot. And the after effect is really powerful for me, specifically handing it to my friends and families, and them picking up the book, reading my chapter, and like, wow, I didn't know that about you. That's pretty cool. And especially because a lot of friends are not from the Netherlands or they're based in the Netherlands, and I was away, and me being away for 10 years, I still was in touch, but obviously they don't know everything. And I think that was extremely valuable and powerful for my kids once they are a little bit older and they want to know what their dad was up to before they were born. I don't know much about my dad before I was born, so it also triggers for me to ask questions to my dad and to my parents, like, what was
Yes.
life like
Yes.
before you were
I can
there?
understand. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here, Simon. Thank you. Just a reflection of what you said. The same thing when I wrote my books. Like my daughter always read them. And by the way, my daughter knows your story so well.
Mhm.
She's a good reader. She reads really fast. But yeah, it's definitely a transformational journey. That's why I'm very much keen in doing this, and I can see so many people transform their lives by in their beliefs and perspectives and everything. And you are one of these amazing ones. I'm really, really happy to see all this feedback you received from your family, your friends, and also other people, random people. People just
Yeah.
reach out because they start to pay attention. Oh, you're not just a logistic person. You're actually a human, that you have your stories, and stories are more powerful than just business itself. Yeah, that's good. So next
And
one,
that's what
Simon.
I like. That's what I
Yeah.
like about the books that you have, the Logistic Legends, but also World Thought Leaders. I've met a lot of the authors in the meantime, and half of them I would normally not talk to because they're just very shy. You like not sure who they are, but knowing their story, that it changed. It changed completely on how you perceive them. That you see
Yes.
them such as a
More
unique
respectful
individual
individual.
that respectful, yeah. And most of them actually, you know as well, that a lot of them are afraid to step on a stage.
Yes. Yes.
It's completely uncomfortable for them to be in the spotlight, and I had to
Yes.
train myself to be more comfortable with that. But then that's something that the impact they can have and they want to have, because
Mm.
otherwise they will not do this journey, I think,
Yeah.
is bigger than they still realize themselves. And I
Yeah.
think that's you're a great supporter to be able to put them on the spot, make them uncomfortable, make them realizing
I'm a good
they're
support to
not.
make people uncomfortable.
Well, there's only one way to grow, right? You have to get uncomfortable,
Yeah. It's a
being
compliment. I
uncomfortable.
get it. Thank you, Simon. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I agree. And I think that's everybody's different, and that's one of my, I can say it's a gift or it's a talent, because I just I can see the best in everyone, and I have to push them, because if I don't, they will never really step out. So that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean that also puts things in perspective, because for me it's like if somebody is like an author, wow, or they have like a CEO of a company and like, oh, I'm I don't dare to talk to them. I'm kind of like look up to them in that sense, right?
Mm,
So knowing that you've done all that yourself is I haven't changed, and I'm sure these people also haven't changed. They just
yes.
wanna they go to an event to just to chit chat and talk to people and get some new ideas and thoughts and introduction. So the boundaries really go away by
Mm,
approaching individuals, by just knowing that everyone has their own story, their own journey,
mm.
and everyone just wants to connect and feel relevant and valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. We're gonna never finish this conversation because it's so exciting. We just loved it and it's really impactful. I guess that's why we both are very excited when we share about this. Now, there's still two more questions about this. So, since the book launched, have you noticed any doors opening? I'm pretty sure yes. New conversations, opportunities, or even the way people see you as a leader. You share a little bit just now. Maybe if there's anything else you want to add on top of that.
Well, it opened up definitely some new doors because the connections got stronger within. For me, it was the logistics space has
Mm,
been the freight forwarding space. I don't know much about it. I didn't
yeah,
know many because I was always focused on the China side.
yeah,
So it really opens up a new perspective. It's also a different ecosystem than e-commerce in itself.
mm,
So I'm navigating that really open door, being seen and heard. I think one of my highlights was really of this year was really the speech in Bangkok.
mm,
It was such a difficult journey to go through, showing slides, which you normally do, with owning your own story
mm,
and really delivering it with authenticity. And that opened up a lot of doors as well with people that either wanted to pick up the book and know more about my story, already knew that, and even that hit harder,
mm,
knowing the background and then just getting that perspective.
yeah,
So that created a lot of respect overall, which then opened up new doors because I'm launching within the NEX community a new course about China fulfillment or fulfillment from China, cross-border
yeah,
logistics from China. So that helps me to share more of my story, of my knowledge, which we're going to launch in October. So that's pretty exciting.
mm,
And that's going to be just more like an online course. And then I was invited to do this offline as well recently in
yeah,
Belgium. And that kind of starts to grow. But I'm doing
yeah,
that also a little bit on the side. So it's my full-time job is still with e-com ops, with helping
yes,
these 100 plus D2C brand
yeah,
owners.
yeah,
So it's always challenging sometimes to navigate what to focus on, but I think that's part of just running a business that there's so much cool stuff to do
yeah,
that I'm excited for that
yeah.
I don't see myself retire ever because there's so much stuff to
That's so
learn, to
cool.
grow, to get energy from. Yeah.
Yeah, it's joy. And also, you're right, not just cherry on the cake, but it's more than that. I think it's also helping with what you do. It's nothing additional like
Yeah.
making it worse. It actually drives it even better. People is gonna come to you because of that, and they trust you more and with more recognition with like they heard your story. They say if you want a presentation whatever, you can only tell, you cannot sell, but the stories can sell. People know this story, they can trust you more straight away rather than just saying random person I have to take forever to understand, is he lying, is he real? But the stories are like they can't lie because I think one of the amazing thing we had on these books is like so authentic, like we truly like deep our hearts to share everything, vulnerability, the weakness, everything, because we want to not just do this for ourselves, but also for people who are reading the stories. When you are willing to serve people, we can't lie. Like, the humanity, these are the things that even AI cannot replace. It's something that it's really, really magical that when it's true, it's true. You can feel it. Yeah. So that's awesome. Right. Here's a fun one. If you have two sons, picked up that book years from now and read your chapter, they already read actually. But what do you hope they will say about their dad? Like, what do you hope? I think they already done it. What actually, did they say anything to you?
No, actually, I translated it into Dutch for them,
Yes,
but one of them started, but they didn't finish it.
they're too
So no, I
young.
don't think I don't think they've read. They love reading, but they like reading different books. So I'm not gonna force the book on me. I would. I just hope they would be proud of me, of my journey. That's mainly what I would like them to see, and also that it's journeys can be very challenging and tough, and hopefully they find support in knowing that their dad lived that, and they can, yeah, they then whenever life gets tough, which it will, then they can survive and overcoming it without too much damage.
So true. Life is not easy. And the journey that you already, like you laid the foundation ahead of them. Um, like I said, they're too young. One day they will read the story, Simon. I know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they will be proud of you. That's what I'm gonna say. Now, I have like another, I prepared a lot of questions for you today. Like we're not gonna leave this. So
Hmm.
let's speed up a little bit, but I'm very excited for the next question. Now it's related to mentorship and balance and your purpose. Um, Beyond business, you are developing a mentorship program and talking about purposeful life living, which is also some of my most exciting thing that I always say about live with purpose. What inspired that shift from building companies to building people? What's
Hmm.
that the shifts?
For my shift was in China. We built that business from small parcels to a very successful business, and it was taken away all of a sudden and brought to the daughter company that was based in Hong Kong, which was very painful. But I really closely identified with that, so I felt really lost. So you have something very big, and then suddenly it's gone, and that was also the cash flow of the business, and you still have a team to manage. And I saw that as my big break, and I didn't want to let go of that, and it was very, very painful. And when that one project went, when that stopped, we had different other projects that were still running, but they were not big enough to sustain what we needed to be the company we wanted to be. And then some of these projects were stopped because either we did a good job and it was the person was taken away from our company to run it independently, or they stopped the project and then we just left with nothing. So then we had to start firing people. So we went from 20 to like 5 people, have two office locations to a single office and maybe one working from home. It was very painful to see people leaving as well as projects leaving, which I considered so close as like family, as part of me. And that changed, like, okay, I need to change this. I need to change my perspective on how I run a business and how I perceive my business. And that's where I changed my own perspective, and I spent a lot of time in getting courses and training and changing my mindset and discussions with my wife as well to just position myself in a healthier way. And that was really impactful for me. And I see that same pattern for some of our clients where they are getting stuck in their day to day and they're closely identified by their business and they experience a similar kind of stress. So, I mean, you can feel the energy when you talk to someone when they experience that kind of stress. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be more for them. And then so that was for me very important. Okay, how do I develop myself
Mm.
to become a mentor for them?
Yes.
So I started getting my own mentor as well.
Mm.
And to be able to set myself up, I started doing courses on neural linguistic
Yeah.
programming or NLP,
Yeah.
about cold exposure, about breath work.
Mm-hmm.
I try to just get more in tune with my inner self because I know that if somebody talks to me and I'm really there and present and connected, the answers will come to me on what I
Yes.
need to say and
Yes.
what will help them on that
Yes.
moment. And it's not a course in that sense. It's really trusting yourself. And
Mm.
and that took years to be able to find the confidence. Like also for this podcast, when we didn't prepare, I mean, you prepared your questions. I have no idea
Which
what you're
is
gonna ask
better, guys. This
because
no preparation, which is more authentic.
yeah, and it doesn't stress me because I know the answers will come. They will flow once I'm really here with you in this podcast.
Yes. Yes.
And that's really inspired me that I can help and I can help a younger versions of me.
Mm.
So I'm 43, and then most of them are early 30s.
Yeah.
Some just one also just was becoming a dad 6 months
Mm.
from then, and he
Mm.
was so stressed, running a multi-million business,
Mm.
grinding every day, not in contact with his spouse enough to be able to prepare for what's coming
Mm.
with the baby, not knowing how to put the baby in his daily life's place.
Yeah.
So we really had to go through a journey for him where when the baby was born, we were in a mental call and he was holding the baby. And it's like, wow, that's so beautiful. And
I love
yeah,
that.
it
I
really
love
tears me
that.
up because yeah,
I
yeah,
love
you
that.
really impact in a very positive way. And I think
Yes.
that's
Yes.
that's that's amazing. If you can pass that onwards. And
Mm.
that's very fulfilling. Yeah.
Very. Yes. Yes. I agree with you. I can't agree anymore because every time when I see my clients that they are winning, and you're right, as a teacher, we can call ourselves teachers because you have the love for your clients, and when you see they're improving because they're struggling, and we all need each other. The truth is, like we said earlier about people are tend to saying, oh, we just need ourselves. No, we don't. We always need each other. And it's the ego. Sometimes we just want to be proud. We don't want to people see us we are weak, whatever. In fact, the more you reach out, the stronger you are because it takes a lot of courage to say, hey, I need help. Can you help me? And also, I believe that everyone needs a mentor, and I only realized that in the late years as well, but it completely transformed my life. And I think you're right, this transformed many people's lives. If you talk to those billionaires, they all have mentors in different areas. And people didn't see because they don't, only those who actually are struggling and stuck is because they think if they do that, it will make them look actually bad. They're wrong. If you reach out to mentors, that means you're very serious about your life and your business and you want to really grow for the future and you will see the result. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Simon. There are a few more questions. I'll move faster again so we can finalize this. But we definitely have another episode, another time in the future because every time we have new sparks and new things coming into the mind, which is awesome. So you are balancing multiple businesses and real, also investing and family and mentorship. What's your secret sauce for staying grounded?
Well, I think having kids makes you feel grounded immediately because I work from home and I do 4 steps out of my office and I'm a dad. And so then that really makes you feel grounded and what's important. But it's hard. So, I mean, you're when you're doing multiple things at the same time, and yeah, obviously still e-commerce is my main focus, but it's a lot of exciting things are happening that I also want to be part of. And luckily, I have the ability and the chance to do so and combine it. It's it's hard to stay. Being grounded is very easy for me because I don't have a very high perspective of myself. I think I'm just a human being and just like many others. And like you said, like everyone can be your mentor. My kids can be my mentor at the same time as well. So it's not about your the garbage man can be my mentor. Anyone you come across in your life have something powerful for you to change your narrative. So in that sense, I'm pretty grounded. I think I mainly just take too much stuff on me that
Mm.
I just like get overwhelmed with things that I needed to do and feel like I'm behind always.
Mm.
So then I kind of reflect, and I have also a vision board on the side of my wall
Mm.
showing like these are what I want to focus on this year.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and then some of the things I just move to next year because
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be now per se.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be sometimes letting go of a deadline, which is not really a hard deadline, is a deadline that you set for yourself,
Mm.
can be very relieving.
Mm.
And that's something just being more kinder to yourself. And,
Yeah.
and that's something that helped me a lot. And it's still your inner voice and inner love. These are very struggle two opposites for
Two
me. And
voices are always fighting
yeah, yeah,
constantly, Simon. We all have the two
yes.
voices in us. One is saying, "Oh, don't be lazy. Come on, just get up and go." It's like, "Oh, it's okay. You can, you can wait." Like these two voices keep talking. Yeah. Oh wow, I
Yeah.
love that. And you're right. The vision board is a very good way to remind you what matters the most. I think I also make the same mistakes. Like when it comes to, I have so many dreams. I have so many things I want to do. And you can see every day I'm moving. One day I'm doing writing and another day I'm doing a new brand or this and that. It's crazy. But then you're right. You can get overwhelmed because I'm a mother. Recently I'm even writing songs. I really love it. For me, that's not work. That's like my recreational stuff. That's one thing that's for me, right? But the only thing you need to do, you're right, is really you have to pause and reflect and then really listen. And what is actually the primary focus? Because when you have more than one item, it's already not focused. You can only focus on one thing at a time. And that is a challenging because as now modern days, we all are like instant gratitude, like we have instant gratitude problem because you can get order something come deliver next day, and everybody has that problem. It's challenged because it's really challenging for us because we already get used to things to be fast. But then
Yeah.
you are right. If you are really willing to sit down and say, hey, be kinder to yourself, and also listen, if you actually pushing yourself too much, what happens is you're gonna lose everything. Like you need to get one thing done and you're proud of it, celebrate the milestone, and another thing come up, another thing come up. You're right, you can have a 10 years plan. You don't have to be like 10 months only. You can go a little bit further than that. So I think this is really valuable for those CEOs who are listening outside there because 99.9, probably 100% CEOs have the same problem. Like myself, I continuously need to remind myself every now and then so that I don't get overwhelmed as well. All
Yeah, too
right.
much
So,
change can be very destructive for the team. If you're always
yeah,
changing things around, they also don't know what to focus on anymore. So the
yeah, that
clarity
that is
helps.
the common complaint for every CEO's staff. We hear that a lot because I understand because we're visionaries. When visionaries has an idea, we need to go for the ideas, right?
Yeah,
But then the team is not as fast as us. They'll be like, oh, I just have this done 90%. Now you want to go this way, then they have to restart and everything. So we just need to sometimes slow down a little bit. Like I'm not saying that's wrong. Sometimes it's right. You have a better idea, but slow down a little bit.
yeah.
All right. So their next question I have for you. When you think about purposeful success, how do you define it for yourself today?
Every interaction, every conversation that both parties leave with a win-win situation. When both get better out of the conversation than prior to the interaction. That's for me success in itself.
Wow, you concluded in a very simple and nice way. All right. So, Simon, almost done. The next question I have for you, if you could leave our listeners with just one message as a thought leader, mentor, and global entrepreneur, what would it be? One message.
Show more of your authentic self. I think a lot of people are afraid to share more about themselves because what you see on social media obviously is a lot of them is fake, and the best performing posts are actually people that are true and authentic, sharing something that they're bothering with. Really build your personal brand, and your personal brand is not tied to a company. I think that was for me. My personal brand has been built across multiple companies just because I just believed in me being the brand itself, and the companies I work for are like I said, like a platform for them to grow as well as myself. And I think when you build a personal brand, you have to be visible, and not everyone dares to be visible. They still have they think they're not worthy or they don't know what to say. Start showing yourself, and it's not about bragging. It's actually showing yourself because that will open up a lot of opportunities. Um, for me, that helped immensely being visible, just to be able to get in front of different people or people reaching out, new opportunities being passed to you. It's pretty exciting, actually. It helps you. It's not hurting you.
Thank you so much, Simon. And to refine what you just said, it's really significant because many people are, there are two kinds of people, right? Now outside there. One side is saying they are very always posting, 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 rushing, just want to get more business and just like, right? You're saying be authentic. Don't just think about business side, really being used so that actually will attract more opportunities. And secondly, for those people who are actually very scared of posting anything that they feel like, oh my gosh, I don't want that. I don't want to be visible. I just want to hide. And we all used to be like that. I was like that too. And I know you were. You shared your story. And I remember when I met you earlier, I was like, why he doesn't like me? Well, at the first time, just to end this, guys, this is very authentic story. When I met you, I was like, he's a very nice guy, but I'm also very nice. Why you stayed away from me? Like, feel like you don't like me. But then I realized it was your personality. You're just not like, not fast hitting kind of person. For me, it was like, hey, I can be very, like, just say hi, we can be friends, that kind of stuff. So just really don't, like, if Simon is like different. For me, we're very different when it comes to personalities. But if Simon can really do so well and he actually step out his comfort zone, guys, you're listening. And if he also recommend that, he must have seen the amazing beauty and the things that's coming from there. You're right. We need to be very careful about these fake things on internet and stuff. But AI is already there, everything's there. Like we just need to defend our humanity, but by smartly and wisely use these tools to really not just grow our business, but also grow our personal branding. That's going to benefit not just the business and also your personal brand, and even for the future. Who knows? Opportunities. There's a lot of things will be there. If you never be seen, you won't be heard, you won't be known, and then no one's gonna come to you. You have to chase them. Then you'll lose more friends, you'll lose more business. There's a lot of consequences that's really not good. So I think you have very, very sincere advice with what you just said. Thank you.
That's for me. It's like once I started to become visible, opportunities opened up. It became so much easier. I never had to apply for any job anymore. It just everything
Exactly.
came to me. And I did what I did do. Maybe a tip if you don't know where to start. I just looked at three people that I really liked their posts, and I knew them already, but not very well. But I knew their names, and I've spoke to them maybe once or twice. I just can we have a call? I want to understand your logic of posting. I want to do it myself as well, but I'm sure you have some kind of system or structure on how to do it because I don't know how to do it. It's just doing random posts, and then I get from three different things. I get input that really helps me a lot to say, okay, this is their way. How can I make it my own? And I haven't been posting a lot in the last few months, just because I wasn't there mentally to post. I had other things to focus. I wanted to focus on. So it was
Yes.
really about the priority. You don't always have to be online and just post just to post. I think it has to come as well with the value you can bring at the time
Yeah.
when it's relevant. And I think too many feel it as a chore. I need to post X times a day or X times a week to be able to be seen. Yeah, you have to have some consistency, obviously. But it's one post is definitely not
It's the
enough.
quality. It's the quality,
But
not
it
the
is,
quantity.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you,
exactly.
Simon. I gotta go. You gotta go as well. We're so thrilled to have you on this channel today, and it's such an honor. And just for the sake of the audience, where you want them to stay connected with you, can you just share quickly?
No, LinkedIn is the best. If you want to know more about small parcel logistics out of China, check Ecomops on the YouTube. We also have a podcast with quite a lot of the Ecomops podcast with quite some episodes. And yeah, follow me on LinkedIn, and I will keep you
Mm.
updated on my own journey.
Thank you so much, Simon, and thank you for those who are participating and attending this podcast with us. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.